So now that you've hopefully installed Python from python.org, the link will be in the description to download the installer if you haven't already. You're going to first want to go to, at the bottom of the Windows OS, to the Start menu, click on it and type in IDLE. And the first the first program that'll pop up is actually going to be a shortcut for the Python shell or the Python GUI, which is called idle. And if you'd like to do this also on a Macintosh, then you're going to go in the top left-hand corner, type in IDLE, the same thing, and you're going to come up with the same window as your first result. So now that you're in this window, this is the Python interpreter, basically. If you send it a command, for example, 1 + 1, it's going to run that line right away. So as you can see, this it can easily perform basic math that you can do on a calculator, and even more advanced math if you'd like to get into it. So let's get on our way. As I showed you, it can do adding, so 2 + 3, for example, will give us 5, what you'd expect. 5 + 6 will give us 11. And it doesn't matter where you put the symbol in between. So you could put the plus right next to the 5 and the 6, or you can put it spaced out between the 5 and the 6. It really doesn't matter. So of course we can also do subtraction. So 6 subtraction or -2 for -7 will give us -3. It can perform negatives, and also you can use negatives in your equation. -3 - 4 will give us -7. We can also do a multiplication, so 3 × 8 will give us 24, and 2 × 9 will give us 18. We can do the opposite of multiplication, which is of course division. So 6 divided by 6 will give us 1, and 3 divided by 9 will give us 0.3, repeating. So you can see that by default, the division gave us a floating point number. And what a floating point number, actually I'll get into that in a second. First I'll show you some other things. We can also perform exponents, so 2 asterisks, which is for exponents. So 3 to the power of, or to the exponent, 9 will give us 19,683. So it can perform fairly large operations very quickly. And what that did is 3 × 3, 9 times. You can also do something called modulus, which uses the percentage sign. So 2 modulus 7, or 3 modulus 7 will give us, or sorry, that wasn't a good example. 7 modulus 2, for example, will give us 1, or 5 modulus 3 will give us 2. Now why is that? Well, the 2 went into the 7 3 times, but it can't go in anymore. So there's one number remaining, which is the remainder, kind of. 3 went into 5 1 time, and it left 2 remaining, because it can't go in 2 times, or else it would be 6. Now, as I said, they have numbers called floating point numbers, which are either numbers that are fractions or numbers that have a decimal, which is a period, and then numbers proceeding after the period. Those are called floating point numbers. Floating point numbers. And in Python, we say float. And we also have integers. Integers, which are numbers such as 2 or 1 or 3 that are not fractions, and they're also not decimals. So, for example, the number 1093 would be an integer. Could also get into whole numbers and rational numbers, but we're just going to float. focus on what floats and integers are. And in Python, an integer is referred to as int. So just keep that in mind. It's not particularly there's no particular need to memorize that right now, but you may need to realize that in the future. So now that I think I've covered everything, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.